Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Tuesday, February 26, 2019. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's college hoops, NBA, and NHL games, as well as spring training, look ahead to today's games. Nolan Arenado gets a big contract extension, and I'll do my best bet of the day and my money lines as well. Let's go to college basketball first. Number 18, Florida State defeats Notre Dame 68-61. Florida State is 22-6. Notre Dame is 13-15. Devin Vessel of Florida State at 13 and DJ Harvey of Notre Dame at 18. NC Central defeats South Carolina State 72-62. NC Central 15-14. South Carolina State 7-13. Randy Miller Jr. had 16 for Central, and for State, Ian Kennard had 14. NCAT defeats Savannah State 63-58. NCAT is 16-12. Savannah's 10-18. Amari Hamilton had 16 and Romani Hansen had 17. Delaware State upsets Coppin State 70-60. Delaware State 5-21. Coppin 6-23. Lamar Morgan had 26 and Kevin Larkin had 16. Howard defeats Morgan State 75-69. Howard 14-15. Morgan State 8-18. David Syfax had 18 for Morgan, and Howard's leading scorer was R.J. Cole with 19. Lipscomb defeats NJIT 81-77. Lipscomb 22-6, NJIT 20-10. Garrison Matthews had 32 for Lipscomb, and Shaquan Gibbs had 19 for NJIT. Iowa State defeats Oklahoma 78-61. Iowa State 20-8. Oklahoma 17-11. Mario Shayok had 21 for Iowa State. And Kristen Doolittle had 15 for Oklahoma. Texas Southern defeats Mississippi Valley State 92-80. Texas Southern 16-11. Mississippi Valley State 5-24. Jeremy Combs had 24 for Southern, and Valley State's leading scorer was Jordan Evans with 26. Prairie View defeats Arkansas Pine Bluff 48-44. Prairie View 15-12, and Pine Bluff 11-17. Chancellor Ellis led the Prairie View in scoring with 12, and Sean Doss of Pine Bluff had 20 to lead them in scoring. Alcorn State defeats Alabama A&M 61-55. Alcorn 10-17. Bama A&M 5-23. Maurice Howard had 16 for Alcorn, and Andre Kennedy had 17 for A&M. Number 15, Kansas defeats number 16, Kansas State 64-49. A huge win for the Jayhawks. I was off on this. Kansas State was my money line pick, and I was wrong. Kansas is 21-7, and so is Kansas State. Dedrick Lawson had 18 to lead the Jayhawks, and the Wildcats' leading scorer with 12 was Kamal Stokes. Northern Colorado defeats Montana 74-72. Northern Colorado 18-9, Montana 20-7. Ahmad Rory had 22 for Montana, and Northern Colorado's leading scorer was Jordan Davis with 23. Tonight's slate at 7 o'clock on ESPN, you have number 3 Duke and number 20 Virginia Tech. Duke's only favored by 3.5, and that is because of the absence of Zion Williamson. No Justin Robinson for Virginia Tech. I'm going to take the Blue Devils again on the road, led by R.J. Barrett and Cam Reddish. Those two guys have played a little better. I mean, they weren't great against Carolina, and that team just was bad against Carolina, and they rebound against Syracuse, and I think they'll win here at Virginia Tech, who's missing Justin Robinson. Akron at number 21, Buffalo. Buffalo's favored by 14. Give me Buffalo to win and cover. Big Ten Network, number 22, Iowa at Ohio State. Ohio State's favored by 3.5. The unranked team's favored against the ranked team. I don't love this Ohio State team. I'm going to take Iowa to pull off the road upset. Miami at Wake Forest. Miami's favored by 5.5 on the road. I think that Miami will win, but Wake covers. ESPN 2, South Carolina hosts Alabama. South Carolina's a 1.5 favorite. I think they win and cover. And surprisingly, that South Carolina's a favorite in that game. SEC Network, Missouri and Mississippi State. The Bulldogs are favored by 11.5. I think they're going to win, but I think Missouri covers. Fox Sports 1, Providence at Butler. Butler's favored by 5. I think Butler wins and covers. I just feel like that's a weird spot. I like that Providence team, but I just don't trust them on the road. And the Big East is wonky this year, obviously. TCU at West Virginia. TCU is a 3.5-point favorite. I've picked West Virginia too many times on the podcast to pull off these home upsets. I don't think this is one of them. TCU is a team that I think needs these games down the stretch to make the tournament, and I think they're going to win and cover. Toledo at Ball State. Ball State's favored by 1. I think Toledo pulls off the Mini Road upset. Toledo is obviously a team to keep an eye on from the MAC because they're 21-6. George Washington at Rhode Island. Rhode Island's a 10-point favorite. That's too many points. I do think Rhode Island wins, but George Washington covers. Jacksonville at North Alabama. Kennesaw at Liberty. Stetson at North Florida. Ohio at Kent State. Miami of Ohio at Bowling Green. Central Michigan at Eastern Michigan. Dayton and UMass. Dayton's favored by 6. I think they win and cover. Dayton's been playing good ball lately. St. Louis at VCU. VCU is favored by 9.5. This is 7:30 on the CBS Sports Network. I'm going to take VCU to win and the cover. St. Louis has been a disappointment this year, and VCU has been the best team in that conference. 8 o'clock, Western Michigan at Northern Illinois. Arkansas at number 4, Kentucky on the SEC Network at 9 o'clock. Kentucky's favored by 15.5. They're going to destroy them. They're going to win by 20, so that means they're going to win and the cover. 9 o'clock on the ACC Network, Syracuse at number 5, North Carolina. Carolina's an 11.5-point favorite. I don't get why this game isn't on ESPN because it's Boeheim against Roy Williams and the whole deal, and these are two, obviously, teams that are going to the tournament and the best league in the country. I'm surprised this isn't on TV. Carolina is 11.5-point favorite. This is tough. This feels like one of those games where it's either Carolina's going to blow them out or Syracuse is going to win outright. It's very similar to the game where Syracuse beat Duke outright in Cameron Indoor. I'm going to take Carolina to win and cover, but the cover, I think, will be close. So I think they win by 13 rather than 11. 9 o'clock on ESPN2, Texas A&M at number 13, LSU. LSU's favored by 12. I think LSU's going to win and cover. I like how they've been playing of late. On ESPN, you have number 19, Wisconsin at Indiana. Wisconsin's favored by 2. They're going to win and cover. Indiana's a dumpster fire. ESPNU, Temple at Memphis. Memphis is favored by 4.5. Wrong team's favorite. Temple is going to the tournament in all likelihood, and Memphis is not. Give you Temple to pull off the road upset. 9:30 CBS Sports Network, San Diego State at Utah State. Utah State's a 9-point favorite. I'm going to take Utah State to win, but San Diego State to cover. 10 o'clock, New Mexico State at San Jose State. New Mexico's favored by 10.5. I think they're going to win and cover. And then Utah Valley at Seattle. NBA. There was a big slate last night. The Warriors defeat the Hornets 121-110. Golden State 43-17 and Charlotte 28-32. Klay Thompson had 26 to lead Golden State. DeMarcus Cousins had 24. Kevin Durant had 20. Stephen Curry had 16. Draymond Green had 14. Bench didn't do anything. Cody Zeller 28 points. Kemba Walker had 23. Nick Batum had 14. And Marvin Williams had 11. Off the bench, Jeremy Lamb had 16. The Trailblazers defeat the Cavaliers 123-110. Portland's 37-23. Cleveland 14-47. CJ McCollum 35 points. Damian Lillard had 21. Yusuf Nurkic had 15. And off the bench, Seth Curry had 15. Meanwhile, for Cleveland, C.D. Osman had 27. Kevin Love had 18. Colin Sexton had 11. Off the bench, Larry Nance Jr. had 10. And Jordan Clarkson had 19. The Pistons defeat the Pacers 113-109. Detroit 29-30, Indiana 40-21. Andre Drummond 26 points and 16 boards. Blake Griffin 20 points, 10 boards, 10 assists. Reggie Jackson had 14 as well as Wayne Ellington. Off the bench, Langston Galloway had 13 and Luke Kennard had 19. The Nets defeat the Spurs 101-85. Bad back-to-back losses for San Antonio as they dropped to 33-29. Brooklyn improves to 32-30. D'Angelo Russell 23 points. 8 assists and 7 boards. Karis LeVert had 15 as well as Joe Harris. Meanwhile, for San Antonio, LaMarcus Aldridge had 26 points and 10 boards. DeMar DeRozan had 23. Off the bench, Rudy Gay had 13. The Suns defeat the Heat 124-121 to end their 17-game losing streak. Phoenix is 12-50. Miami's 26-33. Devin Booker had 20 points and 9 assists. DeAndre Ayton, 14 points and 10 boards. Tyler Johnson at 18 against his former team. Josh Jackson had 11. Kelly Oubre at 16. Off the bench, Jamal Crawford at 16. And Troy Daniels had 14. Hassan Whiteside, 29 points and 11 boards. Kelly Olynyk, 28 points and 10 boards. Deion Waiters had 12. Off the bench, Bam Adebayo had 14. Goran Dragic had 10. I can't believe Dragic is coming off the bench now for the Miami Heat. And Dwayne Wade had 13. The Bucks defeat the Bulls 117-106. A good win for Milwaukee. They're 46-14. Chicago is 16-45. Well, good win because it was come from behind. Giannis did not play due to a nagging little injury or something. Chris Middleton had 22 as well as Malcolm Brogdon. Brook Lopez had 13. Ernesto Silva had 10. Nikola Mirotic off the bench had 13. And Pat Connaughton had 10. Meanwhile for Chicago, Lauri Markkanen, 26 points and 12 boards. Robin Lopez had 26. Zach LaVine had 11. Timothy Luwawu had 12, as well as Wayne Selden off the bench. The Rockets defeat the Hawks 119-111. Houston goes to 35-25. Atlanta 20-41. James Harden, 28 points, so the 30-point streak comes to an end. Chris Paul had 20. Clint Capella had 12. Kenneth Faried had 13. Off the bench, Eric Gordon had 16. And Joel Green had 11. John Collins had 20 for Atlanta. Trae Young had 36 with 8 assists, including 8 3-pointers. Kent Bazemore had 13. Their bench didn't do anything. Cost them the game. The Grizzlies upset the Lakers 110-105. Another day, another loss for the Lakers as they dropped to 29-31. Memphis improves to 24-38. Mike Conley had 30 points. Jonas Valanciunas had 20. Avery Bradley had 15. And off the bench, Joakim Noah had 14 with 12 boards. LeBron James, 24 points, 11 assists, 12 boards in the loss. Brandon Ingram had 32. Reggie Bullock had 14. Kyle Kuzma had 22. Bench didn't do anything. Timberwolves defeat the Kings 112-105. Minnesota 29-31. Sacramento 31-29. Karl-Anthony Towns' first game back from the concussion. 34 points and 21 boards with 5 assists. Tyus Jones had 16. Off the bench, Derrick Rose had 20. Marvin Bagley had 25 with 11 boards. De'Aaron Fox had 23. Buddy Hield had 18 with 8 boards. And off the bench, Corey Brewer had 12. The 76ers defeat the Pelicans 111-110. Philly 39-22. New Orleans 27-35. Tobias Harris had 29 points. Joel Embiid did not play due to a nagging injury or whatnot. Maybe they just sat him. Ben Simmons, 14 points and 12 boards. Jimmy Butler had 11. And J.J. Redick had 16. Mike Scott and Bojan Marjanovic off the bench each had 12. Meanwhile for New Orleans, Anthony Davis had 18. Julius Randle had 19 with 14 boards. Alfred Payton had 10 with 14 assists. Drew Holiday had 22 with 7 assists. And the bench didn't do anything. The Clippers defeat the Mavericks 121-112. Clippers 34-28. Dallas 26-34. Montrezl Harrell 32 points with 5 boards and 5 assists off the bench. Lou Williams had 21 with 10 assists off the bench. Jermichael Green had 11 with 8 boards off the bench. Daniel Gallinari had 20 and Patrick Beverley had 17. Dwight Powell had 24. Dirk Nowitzki had 12. Luka Doncic had 28 with 10 and 10, so a triple-double there. Tim Hardaway Jr. had 20. And off the bench, Max Kepler had 10. Classy move by Doc Rivers at the end of the game, honoring Dirk Nowitzki because it was his last game at Staples Center against the Clippers. So at the tail end of the game, Doc Rivers takes the mic and congratulates him on a fabulous Hall of Fame career, which was one of the highlights of my night last night. That was just very classy to see. Only 3 games today. 7:30, the Magic at the Knicks from Madison Square Garden. 8 o'clock on TNT, the Celtics at the Raptors. Players only game. Toronto's a 4-point favorite. They're going to win. They're going to cover. Celtics are a big game team, but not really this year. They have not played well in big games, especially on the road. At home, they do, obviously, against Philly. on Christmas was a big-time win. They played well against Golden State. Should have won that game at home, but didn't. But they're on the road here. Toronto's going to be pumped up. Kawhi Leonard's going to have a big game. And I do think the Raptors win and cover. I do think that's a double-digit win for Toronto. 10:30 TNT, a fantastic game from Denver. The Thunder at the Nuggets. Denver's a 3-point favorite. I think these are the second and third best teams in the West, respectively. And guess what? I'm taking the underdog. I'm taking the Oklahoma City Thunder to go to Denver and win this game outright. Courtesy of Paul George and Russell Westbrook. They'll be the best players on the court. Jokic is going to have his stats too. But the guy I trust the most with the game on the line is Paul George, who I think should be considered an MVP finalist more than he's given credit for. So give me Oklahoma City to pull off the road upset in Denver as a 3-point underdog. The NHL. 6 games last night. The Maple Leafs defeat the Sabres 5-3. Toronto is 38-20-4. Buffalo 29-25-8. Number 1 star of the game with a goal and an assist, Frederick Gauthier. Number 2 star of the game with a goal and an assist, Kasperi Kapanen. And number 3 star of the game with 2 goals, Jack Eichel. The Devils defeat the Canadiens 2-1. The Devils are 25-30-8. Montreal 33-23-7. Number 1 star of the game with 34 saves on 35 shots. He's kind of back on track after going a whole calendar year without a win, and that's Corey Schneider. Number 2 star of the game with a goal, Nathan Bastian. And the number 3 star of the game with 2 assists, Connor Carrick. The Lightning defeat the Kings 4-3 in a shootout on national TV. Tampa Bay's 48-11-4. LA 23-32-7. Number 1 star of the game with 2 assists, Steven Stamkos. Number 2 star of the game with the goal, Anthony Cirelli. Number 3 star of the game with the goal and an assist, Austin Wagner of the Kings. The Predators defeat the Oilers 3-2 in a shootout. Nashville 37-23-5. Edmonton 26-29-7. Number 1 star of the game with the goal, Colton Sissis. Number 2 star of the game with the goal and assist, PK Subban. Number 3 star of the game didn't have a point but just had a good game, Brian Boyle. The Panthers defeat the Avalanche 4-3 in overtime. A good win for Florida. They are 28-25-8. Colorado's 27-24-12. Number 1 star of the game with the goal and 2 assists, Mike Hoffman. Number 2 star of the game with a goal, Evgeny Dadonov. And the number 3 star of the game with the goal in his first game with the Avalanche, Derek Brassard. The Canucks defeat the Ducks 4-0. Good win for Vancouver, 27-28-8. Anaheim is 24-30-9. Number 1 star of the game with 29 saves on 29 shots, Jacob Markstrom. Number 2 star of the game with 2 goals, Bo Horvat. And number 3 star of the game with 2 assists, Elias Pettersson. Tonight's games. At 7 o'clock, you have the Sharks at the Bruins, the Flames at the Islanders, NBCSN, the Sabres at the Flyers. I really like the Flyers in this spot. There is letdown potential after the big win at Lincoln Financial Field. But you never know. I just don't like teams on the second of back-to-backs, especially on the road, and that's the Sabres in this case. So give me Philly at home in that one. On the call of this game, I believe it's the Flyers feed on NBCSN, or it'll probably be Kenny Albert and Brian Boucher. Senators, Capitals, Kings, Hurricanes, Penguins, Blue Jackets. 7:30 the Canadiens at the Red Wings. 8 o'clock the Predators at the Blues. The Wild at the Jets. 9 o'clock the Panthers at the Coyotes. And the Stars at the Golden Knights at 10 o'clock. Now I'm going to go over some spring training results from yesterday. The Yankees defeat the Blue Jays 3-0 in their home spring training debut. Troy Tulowitzki had a home run in his Yankees debut. Marcus Stroman pitched for Toronto. He gave up 2 homers, one to Tulowitzki and the other to third-string catcher Kyle Higashioka. James Paxton looked good in the spring game. The Twins defeat the Orioles 7-1. Jose Barrios pitched for Minnesota, gets the win. Nate Carnes is charged with the loss. Byron Buxton had a big game for Minnesota, 3 for 3 in the home run in the 5th inning. Jason Castro played as well. He got a hit. Jorge Polanco went 2 for 3. Meanwhile, for Baltimore, Joey Rickard went 1 for 2. In terms of their regulars, Jace Peterson went 1 for 2. Richie Martin, who's slated to be their shortstop, 1 for 2. Pirates beat the Red Sox 4-3. Meaning the Red Sox did not play a lot of their regulars. Sandy Leone DH'd 0 for 3. Blake Swihart played 0 for 2 with a walk. Melky Cabrera went 1 for 2 for Pittsburgh's. Francisco Cervelli went 1 for 2. Starling Marte 0 for 2. Colin Moran went 1 for 2. The Phillies defeat the Tigers 12-7 as a lot of their guys have done well in the spring and so far just in general. And then this game, Gene Segura 2 for 3, Andrew McCutchen 1 of 3, Rhys Hoskins 2 for 3. We offered Detroit their projected starting DH. Christian Stewart did a home run. Nick Castellanos had a 2-run double. Rhys Hoskins had a couple RBIs as well for Philly. Trevor Plouffe came through at the end. Marlins defeat the Rays 5-2. In terms of their key guys, Miami, Pete O'Brien 0 for 3, Brian Anderson 0 for 3. Austin Dean slated to be their starting left fielder, 2 for 3. Byron Holiday, who will be their platoon catcher, 1 for 2. Meanwhile, for Tampa Bay, Brendan Lowe 2 of 4. Tommy Pham 1 for 3. The Mets and the Astros tied at 3. And in terms of the Mets' key guys, Jeff McNeil 0 for 2, Juan Lagares 0 for 2, Michael Conforto 0 for 3. Noah Syndergaard pitched well, despite giving up 2 hits. Meanwhile, for Houston, George Springer 2 for 3, Jose Altuve 0 for 2, Josh Reddick 2 for 2, Robinson Chirinos 1 for 2, Justin Verlander pitched 2 innings with a strikeout. Top prospect Forrest Whitley 2 innings and 3 strikeouts. He, I think, is a candidate to be in their rotation this year if Josh James doesn't pan out or if there's injuries and whatnot. They have Wade Miley slated to be in their rotation as of now. The Braves defeat the Nationals 9-4. Freddie Freeman hit a 2-run homer. And in terms of another or more Atlanta regulars, Andy Arciarte 0 for 2, Ozzie Albies 0 for 1. Ronald Acuna 1 for 2. Meanwhile, for the Nats, Victor Robles 1 for 2. You had Mark Reynolds, who went 0 for 1 in his lone at-bat of spring training, or at least in this game. Patrick Corbin, 2 innings, a hit, and 2 strikeouts. Meanwhile, Max Fried pitched for Atlanta, 2 innings, a hit, a walk, and a strikeout. Cardinals and the Tigers tied at 3. Daniel Norris, 2 innings, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Meanwhile, for the Cardinals, Jordan Walford, 2 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, and a strikeout. In terms of regular hitters, Harrison Bader, Paul DeJong, Marcell Ozuna, all went 0 for 2. Jed Jerk 0 for 1. Colton Wong 1 for 2. Tyler O'Neill 0 for 1. The key hitters in their split squad, Miguel Cabrera 1 for 2. Jeimer Candelario 0 for 2. Victor Reyes 0 for 3. William Castro 0 for 2. The Giants and the White Sox tied at 4. Yangervis Solarte had a home run in the bottom of the first for San Francisco and had an RBI single in the 5th. Derek Collin pitched an inning, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, a walk, and a strikeout. And then Longoria went 2 for 2. For Chicago, Tim Anderson 0 for 3. Jose Abreu 0 for 2. Eloy Jimenez 1 for 3. John Jay 1 for 3. Tyler Anderson 0 for 3. Manny Banuelos pitched 2 innings, 2 hits, an earned run, and 4 strikeouts. The Dodgers defeat the Cubs 11-2. And in terms of regulars, Justin Turner home run and an RBI double for the Dodgers. Jock Peterson 0 for 2. Discussed Justin Turner went 2 for 2 with the walk. Austin Barnes 1 for 3. Moving on for the Cubs, Ian Happ 0 for 2. And he's the only regular I see on this list for the Cubs. Oh wait, they had a split squad, so that made sense. Rockies defeat the Royals 12-5. In terms of big names, Jorge Soler homered for the Royals in the bottom of the second. And in terms of notables on the Rockies, Trevor Story 0 for 2, David Dahl 0 for 2, Mark Reynolds 1 for 2, Ryan McMahon 1 for 3. Meanwhile for KC, Whit Merrifield 1 for 2, Adalberto Mondesi 1 for 3, Alex Gordon 0 for 2, Jorge Soler 1 for 3 with the homer, Ryan O'Hearn 0 for 3, Hunter Dozier 1 of 4. The Rangers defeat the Indians 11-5. Greg Allen homered for Cleveland in the bottom of the first. And then a lot of minor league guys did the rest of the damage in the later innings. In terms of Ranger regulars, Joey Gallo 0 for 2, Ronald Guzman 0 for 1, Matt Davidson 0 for 3. Mike Minor pitched 2 innings, a hit, an earned run, 3 strikeouts. Meanwhile for Cleveland, Greg Allen actually went 2 for 2. Tyler Naquin 0 for 3. Jose Ramirez 0 for 1 with the walk. Jake Bauers 0 for 3. Roberto Perez 0 for 2. Matt Joyce 0 for 2. Could make the team as their starting left fielder. Trevor Bauer 3 innings, a hit, no earned runs, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. The Cubs defeat the Padres 6-4 in their split squad other game. Wilson Contreras hit a 3-run homer in the bottom of the fourth for the Cubs. In terms of their big names, Jason Hayward 0 for 2. Chris Bryant had 2 walks and a run scored. Javier Baez 0 for 2. Wilson Contreras, I talked about him, 1 for 2. Big names on the Padres. Tyler Jankowski 0 for 2. Luis Urias 0 for 2. Frankie Cordero 0 for 3. Francisco Mejia, DH, he was 1 for 3. Fernando Tatis, 1 for 2. The Mariners defeat the Reds 11-3. In terms of big name things for either team, Edwin Encarnacion hit an RBI double. And Danny Santana went deep for the Mariners. Tim Beckham went 0 for 3. Encarnacion 1 of 2. Omar Navarez 0 for 2. Seth Long 0 for 1. Ryan Healy 0 of 2. Evan White 2 for 2, their hot first base prospect. In terms of Cincinnati, Nick Senzel 0 for 3. Joey Votto 0 of 2. Eugenio Suarez 0 for 1 with the walk and a run. Yasiel Puig 0 for 2 with the walk. Tucker Barnhart, it says 0 for 0. Jace Peterson 0 for 3. Alex Wood an inning, 2 hits, 3 home runs, and a walk. And the debut of free agent signing Yusei Kikuchi of the Mariners, 2 innings, a hit, no earned runs, a walk, and a strikeout. He looked pretty impressive. The Angels defeat the Brewers 4-3. In terms of the Angels and what their key guys did, Cole Calhoun 0 for 2. Zach Cozart 0 of 0 it says. And Trelton Simmons 0 of 0. And that's really it in terms of their big games. Oh wait, Joe Adell's on here 0 for 3. He's one of their hot prospects. Corey Spangenberg of the Brewers 1 for 3. Tyler Saladino 0 for 3. The former White Sox. Manny Pena 0 for 3. Ben Gamel, 0 for 2. And Jaime Barria pitched for the Angels, 2 innings, 2 hits, an earned run, and a strikeout. The Diamondbacks defeat the Athletics 4-3. And in terms of big names on either side, Nick Martini, 2 for 3 for the Athletics. Franklin Barreto, 1 of 3. Ramon Laureano, 0 of 3. Marcano, 0 for 3. Dustin Fowler, 1 for 4. Jorge Mateo, 0 of 3. Nick Hundley, 0 of 2. Meanwhile, on the Arizona side, Cadel Marte, 1 of 3. Eduardo Escobar, 1 for 3. David Peralta, 0 for 3. Steven Souza, 0 for 3. Zach Greinke, 2 innings, no hits, no earned runs, a walk, and a strikeout, so he looks pretty solid. And Frankie Montas of Oakland, 2 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. He should be in their rotation next year. Today's spring games, Yankees-Phillies got postponed due to rain. That was supposed to be at 1:05. There's a lot of other 1 o'clock games. Astros, Marlins, Pirates, Twins, Cardinals, Nationals, Rays, Orioles, Mets, Braves, Red Sox, Blue Jays got postponed too, and then Tigers, Mets. 3 o'clock, the Angels at the Athletics, the Royals at the White Sox, the Padres at the Brewers, the Giants at the Reds, Diamondbacks at the Cubs, Dodgers at the Royals, Indians at the Rockies, and the Rangers at the Mariners. So spring training games for the majority are day games. Before I do best bet, Nolan Arenado and the Colorado Rockies have an 8-year, $260 million extension in place. That's well-deserved for arguably the best third baseman in the game. I think that was smart of him to do that because he saw free agency this winter and how teams were weary to overpay for guys. And the Padres stepped up for Manny Machado. Now the question is who steps up for Bryce Harper. Nolan Arenado's fearing the worst, so he got his money when he did. And Aaron Hicks of the Yankees did the same thing yesterday. And now I think that's going to become a trend before the season a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if Paul Goldschmidt got an extension done, or any of these guys that have options to become free agents. Now I'm going to do my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. I lost yesterday because I took Coppin State in terms of my best bet, and that couldn't have gone any more wrong. There's more college to choose from rather than NBA tonight because there's 3 NBA games, and 2 of them are, you would think would be close, and the other one's Magic Knicks, where the Magic are the biggest favorite of the 3, and they should not be that big of a favorite against the Knicks team that, yeah, they're god-awful, but Orlando shouldn't be favored by more than 7 points against anybody, especially on the road. And we're going to do Buffalo, Rhode Island, although I'm not super about Rhode Island, Mississippi State, North Florida, Kentucky, North Carolina, LSU, New Mexico. There's your 8 teams. I'm going to wager $1 to win $1.60 with the payout of $2.60. Moneyline pick for college basketball. Iowa. Plus 145, going to wager $5 to win $7.25 with the payout of $12.25. Moneyline for the NBA. Guess what? I talked about Orlando being too big of a favorite, and guess what? They are too big of a favorite. And you know what? The New York Knicks are my moneyline pick. Despite me saying Oklahoma City, picking them as the TNT game, but I want big bucks and wager $5 on the New York Knicks to win 13 with a payout of $18. That's it for the podcast today. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything from college basketball to NBA to the NHL, spring training, and go over everything that's on tap for tomorrow. And obviously my best bet of tomorrow too, and break down any other news that happens in the world of sports. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.